Hello everyone! Hi, my name is Cheryl and I am with JJB Designs and I am super excited tonight to be on the Prima page. This is my first Prima live, but I've done many lives on my own page. So tonight what I'm going to be going over with you guys is we're going to work on this project back here. I've already started. We're going to be doing a little bit of molds, a little bit of transfers. Kind of started so that you guys can see what I was starting on. We're going to do the Sunflower Fields transfer as well as the Forest Treasures molds. So, as you guys come on, please say hi. Let us know where you're at. A little bit about yourself if you're working on any projects. All right, so I'm really excited to go over the molds first tonight. I've had a lot of people that are on my page as well asking a lot of questions about molds and asking me if I would do a video on the molds, and just haven't had a chance. And then I had the chance to come on here tonight, so I was like, perfect time for me to go over this, right? So this is the mold we're going to work on tonight. If you guys haven't seen it before, it is our Forest Treasures mold from ReDesign, and it's great. It has these beautiful, like the way that you can make the sunflowers with this is awesome. As you can see, I already started one here last night, but we're actually going to do more tonight together. So do me a favor, let me know. Hey Jillian, how are you? So let me know if you've used molds before. If you've used molds, do me a favor, hit your like button several times if you've used the molds before. Let me see what I got going on. Awesome. If you haven't used the molds before, give me the like buttons. Hey Sue. All right, if you've used the molds before and you love them, hit your love button. I want to see who loves the molds as much as I love the molds. All right, nice. All right, so we're going to be working on the sunflower molds tonight. Now, there are several ways that you can make your molds. You can use them using an air dry clay, and you press it in, and then you take them out and they have to air dry. The good point about using the air dry clay is you can mold it around areas as well. However, the resin we're going to use tonight, I'm going to show you how we mold that around areas as well so they have curves and things. I personally do not use the air dry clay because it has a tendency at times to crack when it dries out, and I just don't want to deal with that. The other thing that you can use is a hot glue gun. You need a high heat hot glue gun, and you would fill the molds, let it set, and then pop them out. I don't use the hot glue gun one as well. Number one, if it's not hot enough, you get little bubbles. I don't like the bubbles in there. And I've really become a big fan of the resin. So what is the resin we're going to use tonight? We're going to use the Amazing Cast resin. This is the white Amazing Cast resin. There's two different kinds. All right, so there's the white resin and then there's the clear resin. The clear resin takes much longer to set. This sets within 10 minutes. It's awesome stuff. This is what we're going to use tonight, and I'm going to show you how we put them in, pop them out, and actually glue them on, in between doing the transfers on here as well. The great thing about using this tonight, if you guys follow Brush by Brandy, one of the ambassadors for ReDesign with Prima, she actually has an affiliate link that she's let me share tonight with you guys that will give you 10% off if you order the Amazing Casting resin through her link. You just use Brush 10. All the information is in the description of the event tonight. So if you watch this after, you guys can actually click on the link and get that description to go ahead and sign up for that. All right, so tonight while I'm doing this, just to let you know, I'll probably go out of the way of the camera because I kind of want you guys to focus on what I'm doing, not necessarily me, even though it's great if you want to look at me, but I figured you guys would want to learn a little bit first instead of looking at me. All right, so I want to try and get as much in here as possible. So one of the girls asked me on my last night, so what is this? This is my hydraulic table. I paint and do everything on my hydraulic table. So we're going to work on the hydraulic table tonight. I actually have some of the resin already open because I was working on stuff last night. So the resin comes in a two-part. All right, I'm going to sit like this so I can kind of see you guys. It comes in a two-part. You have your A and you have your B. And when it comes in there, I'll show you how the package comes so that you can kind of see. It comes with these nice little measuring cups. You'll get your A and B activator in here. And then it comes with these nice little sticks. These sticks are great. You use those for mixing. And your whole set comes with you, so you're ready to go, right? All right, the important thing when you guys are using the resin is that you always measure. I don't measure when I cook, and I pretty much don't measure anything else in my life. I'm kind of like a guess it and go kind of girl. However, I always measure this, because if you don't measure it properly and you don't have the right ratio, it is not going to set correctly. So tonight, let's start with this. So what we're going to do is we are going to mix it. I use also a clear because I want to watch it as it's setting, because I want to see what's going on as I'm mixing it. So let's start with the first one. Let me move some of my stuff out of the way here. And we're going to pour a little bit of the A first into our little cup. In case you guys didn't know, also, there's been a contest going on Prima for molds on your furniture. So if you guys are doing molds on your furniture, you need to submit it into the contest. I was third place in the contest in June for my sunflower vanity set, and I have to tell you, they were awesome to me. All right, so that's the first one, that's A. And then we're actually going to go with the B. Now, I'm not seeing any kind of comments or anything on here tonight. Oh, actually, finally, I see a comment. All right. Hey, Darlene, hello from Maine. Oh, I'm in New Hampshire. So we're in the same neck of the woods. All right, as you can see, it's going to be the same exact measurement. You put them in. I'm going to close them up because I am a klutz, and I will drop them because that's what I tend to do. All right, I'm going to take my stick, and I'm going to measure it. I'm going to stir it, Do you see how it's split right now? And it gets cloudy. You're going to mix it really, really well. We're going to mix it on here together. And you'll see, as you mix it, it starts to get really, really clear. Can you guys see how clear that is? You want it to be at a clear consistency when you go to pour. All right, so the way that the sunflower, I call it the sunflower molds, but it's actually the forest treasure, I'm sorry. The way that it's made, you have to pour it several times to get this sunflower that I have on here. So we're gonna do one together right now, and then as it's setting, we'll do some transfers. All right, so when you go to pour, the thing is you want to make sure you don't over pour, but don't under pour either. And the way you'll look, so I over poured this one, so I'm actually going to push it through. Can you guys see how I over poured? Let me pull this down. I actually did it on purpose so you could see. You do not want to over pour. This has gone over the edge. So what's going to happen is now I'll have to cut back my mold to use it. I'm still going to use it, but I'm going to have to cut it back, and I'm going to show you how we cut it back. So then I'm going to come pour over here instead. Now this one I'm going to do a little slower because I don't want to over pour. I'm going to use my stick to kind of pour it into all of the edges that I want it to go into. You want to make sure you have enough in here to go to the edges. You'll feel the resin starting to heat up as you're using it. That's the activator working on the resin. And then I'm going to pour just a little bit in here. All right. So, over pour. See what happens when you over pour it? It goes over the edge. It's probably going to stick to my table actually. And then now when I go to pop this out, I'm going to have to trim around it in order to use this one. But I want you to see what happens when you over pour. This is not an over pour. And then I've used the stick to actually go into the edges. So now when I pop this out, this will actually form within the next 10 minutes, and then we'll pop it out and we'll glue it on while we make more. But until then, oh, and you know what? I'm actually going to use, I still have some left in here, so let's pour it all into here. So that's going to be the center. Can you guys see where that's already started to set? I should be wearing gloves with this, but I'm kind of a rebel on this tonight. All right, I waited too long. This is our working time. Can you guys see how that is from waiting too long? All right, so the lessons learned. You do not over pour and you do not wait too long. So we're gonna re-pour that one after. Let's go over to our transfers, and then also I'll show you what else we've been doing over here. So last night I started over here, and when I go to put my, whoops, let me get this on. I just realized you guys are getting blocked out of the actual sunflower. There we go. When I went to go put this on, I was using, So fast. It is so fast, isn't it? It's crazy. I use Type-On glue. So I know other people use different ones. You can use a clear glue. You can use, some people use E6000. I tend to use it because I'm on furniture. I use the Type-On so I can adhere to the wood. But I've used this on glass as well. And when I use glass, I do use E6000 because it's a waterproof, almost silicone base. But this right here is a wood glue, and I use the premium one that has the water resistant to it because I just like the way that it adheres and it sets pretty fast. All right, that's what we're gonna use when we go to put this on. If you guys can see here, last night when I put this on, I over glued it on purpose, knowing that I was going to go ahead and paint over this anyways when I go to do the actual design. Let me move this up just a little bit so you guys can kind of see a little bit more. Is that better for you guys? There we go. All right. I over glued it. I knew that I was going to paint over this, but I wanted you guys to see what happens when you actually over glue. You will get the yellow here. So if you're putting on a mold and you're not going to be painting over it, you're going to be really careful about how much glue and not over gluing it. This piece has already been painted. Typically, I'll put my molds on that before I actually paint the piece, but this one I'm actually going to paint as a sunflower. I'm going to use all my sunflower colors on here when I go to finish this up. But before we do that, let's work on some of our transfers. So I have a transfer up here that's going to go on the bottom, but what I want to do is move this. Let me see if I can get this to move over. There we go. I want to try and put some of our sunflower fields. So sunflower fields, if you guys have been trying to get them anywhere, you'll know that they are sold out just about everywhere. So I only had enough to do a partial of this without building an actual bouquet that's like the top one. I have to build it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put different ones on here. I'm going to back this up just a little bit if it's okay with you guys, just so I can have some room. And I might get in the way of what you're viewing for 2 seconds with my back. When you get your transfers, if you haven't used them before, they're going to come with this little stick inside of them. This stick is awesome. It'll do so much for you. Also, Prima does make a tool, and I do use the transfer tool as well. I know that I am sold out of them. They are coming back in stock, I believe in October, so your local retailer might have some, or they might have some coming in stock. And that being said, if there's anything of the products I'm using tonight, please go onto the ReDesign with Prima site, and you can find a local retailer and give to your small business, because I know we all are kind of trying to get through the whole COVID thing, and not to mention it's really good to protect your small business anyways, right? And give to them. All right, so now this has some bends in it. I don't know if you guys can see the bends from the drawer. So what I try to do, when I know it's something that has a bend in it, I try and do the bend first, because I want my transfer to come around it without cracking. This is the stick that comes with it, and that's how you would use it. This is the tool that they have. Same thing. So we have the larger and the smaller side to use. And then I'm going to do this. Now, some people will tape their transfers on so that they're in the right spot for them before they use them. That's fine. I tend to just kind of go with the flow and place mine. Most of the transfers that Prima has can be cut and they can be layered. I'm a layering person. I love layering different transfers, kind of making my own design so that's something unique. And I take the pieces that are in them and I make that. So as you go to pull it up, you can tell whether it's on or not. You want to make sure that you have it down, and it's just like a rub-on. How many of you guys have done rub-ons before? It's like a craft project that I think a lot of us have done. So you can see here, the next thing I do is I actually take my finger and I rub. Here, let me move this over just a little bit so you guys can see this. I rub this with my finger to burnish it, just to make sure that all the edges are on and that it doesn't lift. All right, let's get our next piece. So I'm trying to mimic something like this at the top, if you guys can see that, because my actual bouquet parts of the sunflower fields, I've used them all already. want to take this, and again, there's like an indent right here in the center, so I'm going to press that down, and I want to do that section first so that it doesn't split when I go to put it on. All right. So how's everybody doing tonight? Where is everybody from? I'm curious. I am in New Hampshire, and it is so muggy here today that we joke around. I have super curly hair, and that today I feel like an alpaca. Like it's just like from all the humidity. It's crazy, right? I'd love to see where everybody is from. And when you go to pull up, if you notice that it isn't off all the way, you just keep going ahead and doing your rubbing on there, and it'll come off. Meanwhile, I'm trying to keep an eye on the corner for our other stuff setting. Queensland, Australia, that is awesome. Australia is awesome. Arizona, so real quick, Australia, I have an autistic son who, when I tell you, loves geography. He loves anything about geography. I can't wait to tell him that somebody from Australia was on here. Arizona, I've been to Phoenix, Prescott area, and I know Jill's in Florida, and then another Pensacola, Florida. That's awesome. I used to live in Florida. I lived actually not far from Jill, who is on here, and in the Tampa Bay area, north of Tampa Bay. And then I grew up in New Hampshire and then moved back here about 10 years ago. And I got to tell you, I love New England. I love everything about New England. It's just the change of the weather, you know, family, the whole bit. All right, so I'm burnishing this with my finger again because I want to make sure that sits. And now I want to throw a little bit of color onto this baby. So which way do I want to do this? I think I might bring this one up because what we're going to do is we're going to add this baby here. And then I think I need to cut this guy to throw him onto there. What do you think about that? I just think that it'll really look good. Oh, so she's in Prescott Valley. And there's someone from Ireland too. That's awesome. So Prescott Valley, I actually went to Prescott when I was just out of high school. A girl that I went to school with is actually living there, and it was nice. I joked with her, though, that I could never live there because I felt like the bugs were bigger than the dogs. I don't know. They were huge. Absolutely huge. All right. So I am going to place this one. Do I want to do that or do I want to do this? I think I'm going to do it this way instead and kind of overlap this piece. Nope. Yeah. See? That's what I do. I change my mind all the time. Boston, hello Boston and Michigan. Very nice, very nice. It's nice to see you guys on here. So I think I asked this earlier about molds. Who here has used molds? Do me a favor, throw some like into that. Hit your like button, like if you've used molds before. I want to see who here has used molds before. And then, if you used them and you loved them, do me a favor, hit your love button. Throw some hearts up there so you can see them. And if you've used molds, let me know. What was your favorite mold that you used that the company offers? North Carolina, awesome. This, the Forest Treasures mold that we're working with tonight is probably by far my favorite molds. But in Illinois, sweet. Where in Illinois are you from? And what is it like there? I'd be curious to know. You guys, my watch keeps going off. It thinks I'm talking to it, but I'm really not. Really not talking to it, but it doesn't seem to think that. It keeps thinking I'm talking to that instead of you guys. Silliness. All right, so I'm going to use this one only because I want to kind of get in there. It's a little easier, the details. All right, so then we got another piece on Lake George, New York, and Canada. Where in Canada are you from? Hello, our northern friends. In Lake George, New York, I used to have a girl that worked for me that was in Lake George, New York, actually. She had an escape room in Lake George, New York. Her and her husband used to do escape room stuff there in Central Illinois. Very nice, very nice. So we're going to go ahead and, do you see how I layered that right over the other one? And then I burnished it with my finger. So they kind of like connect to each other. Ontario. So I've been to, as Elisa says, she's from Ontario. I've been to Montreal. It was something that was like a thing that my son just always wanted to do. Like I said, he's autistic. And so for the longest time, we used him getting his passport as like a tool to get him to do things. And one of the things he wanted to do was go to Montreal. So we took him to Montreal, and it was definitely an experience. That's all I can say. Definitely an experience. I loved going up there. It was nice and fun. North Alabama has thunderstorms. Oh no, be safe. Be safe. Coming from a girl that was in Florida for a long time, those thunderstorms can definitely cause and wreak havoc. So it's, again, this is the bend that's in here, so I am going into that bend. Can you see how I'm using the corner of this into the bend to kind of help that transfer get into that? And then I'm going to do this, and then I have another bend up here that I want this to go on without having any issues. And as you start putting it on, you'll see that it kind of like lightens up in that area, so you can know that it actually adhered, so that you're good to pull this back. And you can actually hear it. I call it the crackling. Can you hear the crackling of everything as it's coming on? Look how beautiful that piece is. Isn't that great? I love this. How vibrant. So their transfers are so vibrant. I can't wait for the new releases. Have you guys been checking out those sneak peeks on the new releases? OMG is all I can say, because they are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And I can't wait to be able to use them on my furniture and other things. So I use transfers on not just furniture. I've used them on flower pots. I did a live on my page using them on gourds, which was awesome. That was a lot of fun. We did gourds with them. I've done them on rolling pins. Oh, Lisa said, love the sunflower. I love the sunflower. So my company name, if that's what you mean, is Terry. My company is JJ Bean Designs. My link to my social media is all up in the description of this live. If you're enjoying it tonight, I really would like you guys to follow me. All right. Hopefully maybe I'll do some more lives on here with some other stuff. What do you think? All right, so again, look how beautiful those look. I just love how bright their colors are. These transfers are just so bright. They just, yeah, they're great. Absolutely great. All right, so while I'm looking at that, I'm just going to take a peek over at our stuff over here. I want to show you guys how this is settling in. This is the one that we over poured. Can you see that? So, hey Roz, how you doing? All right, so this is the one that we over poured. So do you see how when that over poured, it went over the edges? So I'm gonna have to get scissors and cut that in order to use it. And it's very easy to cut. I did it on purpose so that I could show you how to cut your transfers. This one was the one I waited too long to put in. Look how lumpy that is. You don't want that. It won't sit onto your furniture. And this is still kind of doing its little setting. We're gonna pop those in a second. I'm gonna grab my scissors. They're right behind me. All right, so the first one we're gonna pop out. Let's move this around over to here real quick. This is it right here. Let's pop this out. So when you go to pop these out, especially when you over pour, it sometimes is a little more difficult because it doesn't pop out as easily. This one actually had a leaf come with it. We're gonna pull that leaf off. Those are the leaves for the smaller sunflowers. And then all you do is just push it back and they just slide out. Now, I like to use my molds. Can you see how that over poured? I like to use my molds when they first come out because they still have the ability to wrap and kind of bend. And I'll show you that in a second. Look how easy these are to trim up. So you just trim them up. We're not going to over pour our other ones, right? So we don't want them to do the same thing. And actually, if it's thin enough, like this one is, you can just pull it off. That one's not thin enough. That's thin enough. This one, we are going to use scissors. All right. All right, I'm going to cut up this side now. Now, the amazing cast resin, like I said, in my link, Brandy from Brush by Brandy has been kind enough to give me a link and a discount code to share with everybody tonight so that you guys can get 10% off on the amazing cast. All right, so we are actually going to put this somewhere else. We're going to start it over here. And this is where I want to do it. So we had one over on this side, and I want to counterbalance it. So I'm going to do one over here, but we're going to wrap it around over there. So let me get my stuff out. All right, I'm going to show you guys what I do. And there's no judging allowed because I do this all the time. And I'm not sure why I don't just use a paintbrush. Some people paint the glue on. This is what I do. I put it on like this. Well, I have to unsnap it first. I put the glue on like this. Can you guys see that? Then I take my finger and I kind of spread it around. And the biggest thing is making sure I get those edges as much as possible without going over the edge typically. It doesn't need a lot of glue. See that? And then I keep shop towels with me. If you guys don't use shop towels, I'm telling you they're way better than paper towels. I use these ones. However, you can get any type of shop towel you want. All right. Now, whoops. Sorry, guys. Get to see the rest of my workshop there for a second. I hit it with I have a mechanics chair I roll around on. So what kind of glue? I use the Type Bond Premium wood glue. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to press this on. And do you see how, remember I told you I have edges there? Because it is still warm, it lets me mold it over to my stuff because it's still warm. So we're going to mold it and we're going to let it sit. And see how quick and easy that is? All right. Now, we have this other one that's still in here. You're afraid of molds. Oh, Lisa, don't be afraid of molds. You just got to give it a shot. So listen, if you never take risks in life and try things, you'll never know. I guarantee if you give it a shot, you will do fine. All right, this one, I want to mold it up a little bit before I put the glue on because it's still really warm. So what I do is I'm going to press this. I'm going to pull this out a little bit so I can work with this. I can use like a double texture here. So I press this down, and now I know that that thing is ready to go where it's going to go. And we're going to pull this up. So Lisa, I'd love to see you try some of the molds. I think that you will find that they are much easier and friendly than you think. And they're a lot of fun. And there's a great way to dress up whatever it is that you're working on. I'm not sure where you're located, but there should be a local retailer by you that can probably help you with learning how to use these as well. And if not, I know there's a ton of videos on here, and I'm sure Roz can answer you. I know she's watching tonight about different ways to use them besides me showing you what I'm doing. All right, so this is our first of our start of our molds, right? All right, let's get back over here now. Let's pour some more. So the first thing I'm going to do is, let me get this. Don't mind my workshop that's got a bunch of stuff on it. So that popped out. It does give great detail though. Isn't that awesome? Too bad it's so bumpy on the back. This one, shot. We can't use this cup. However, it used to be, you could pull them out. I'm going to still reuse this. We're going to use a different cup to actually pour. Do you paint the molded pieces afterward? I do. I actually will use an acrylic and sometimes chalk paints. I use different paints to actually paint them. And sometimes if it's just a mold that I want as an accent that's not going to be an artistic piece to it, this is going to be more artistic, then I will put the molds on and then paint the piece but I'll paint the mold like a darker color before I go over it so that it actually highlights the mold when it's on the piece. All right, so let me get through. Can you guys see me? I feel like I'm moving you guys around too much. All right, let's do our two-part again. We're gonna mix together again. That's all right with you guys? We're gonna start with the A. Remember, you wanna do equal parts. So that's our first part. We're gonna pour it into the cup. I'm gonna put my lid on because I think I told you guys this before. I'm a klutz. I will drop it. I get stuff everywhere. I'm horrible. If it's gonna happen to somebody, it happens to me. That's just who I am. All right, and then again, equal parts. You're gonna put the B into it. All right. We're gonna take our thing. I'm gonna show you guys. See how cloudy it looks? It looks kind of yellowy. And then it gets really, really cloudy as you mix it. And then it gets clear. When it gets to the clear, it is ready to use. It is that easy to use. And then you're gonna pour it. I'm gonna try and get you guys as close as possible right now so you guys can see me pouring. All right, can you see that? You're gonna pour it into your molds. We're not gonna over pour this one because I don't feel like trimming again. So I kind of want to pay attention. So I use the clear cups and the ones that I can kind of see what's happening with them. Then you take your little stick, and these all come, if you weren't on earlier when I poured the first two, this comes in the actual kit for the resin. And then you pour it and you push it through. And then push it to the edges because I want to make sure all of my details are showing. All right, and then let's put this here. I'm going to do the second set of leaves. What's great about the resin is it tends to like flow into those really detailed areas so that you get all that really nice detail with the resin. I feel with the air dry stuff that it really doesn't get you all those details that you just enjoy seeing, right? So what was that? The pouring is the hardest part. Yeah, right? Pouring is the hardest part, just to make sure you don't over pour. But even then, even if you over pour, it's okay because you just trim it back. You trim it back and you are good to go. So these are gonna sit now while we finish up more transfers. All right, let's get back over here. I'm gonna try and answer a few questions too because I just realized that I've got, let me move my thing around here. I've got a bunch of questions, but let me see here. Does the epoxy resin smell? It doesn't smell at all. It has zero smell. So I work in my workshop, which is my garage, and it's fine. Pouring is the hardest part. It is the hardest part, but like I said, it is not so bad once you get them on. So, and as far as the epoxy resin, just, you know, it's the amazing, I'm going to show you guys again what it is. The amazing casting resin in white, not the clear, the white. The white actually takes, the clear takes, I can't remember, I haven't used it in so long. I want to say it's like 10 to 12 hours to set. I could be wrong, but it's a very long time. So I use the white because I like that it sets in actually 10 minutes. So how did you decide to use resin versus air clay for molds? So I've actually watched several things, and Brush by Brandy, if you haven't followed any of her videos, she's on here, she does stuff. She's one of the brand ambassadors for Prima. I actually watched a lot of her videos. Cheryl Hunt with CC from Restyle, she shows a lot of good stuff. And I saw, and I just tested things, and the air dry just kind of cracked for me. And then how long does it take to dry? So they'll harden up typically within probably 10 to 15 minutes from taking them out of the molds. I try and grab them beforehand so that they don't do that because I don't want them to harden. I like to be able to move them around. Where do you purchase your transfers? I purchase mine directly from Prima. However, Anybody can purchase transfers. If you go to the Redesign by Prima website, it's redesignwithprima.com, and you look for the local retailer by you. That way you're giving business to a local company that can absolutely help you with that. If you still have trouble, go onto this site and ask if there's anybody in your area that has them, because then we're giving business to your local businesses, all right? And where do you buy the resin? All right, so in the link, up in the description of this slide, there's actually a link to where you can purchase the resin, and again, it's giving to a small business when you, so Brandy with Brush by Brandy, it's her link, and she has a code there. If you use Brush 10, it will give you 10% off. So yeah, so it's a great deal. Great deal when you're supporting somebody else. All right, so we're gonna finish some of this transfer while we're waiting for our resin to reset, and then I'll show you how we finish up the resin stuff and go from there. All great questions. I love when people ask questions, because that's how you learn, right? Is when you're asking questions. If you just are complacent with it, you don't learn the questions you need to learn. All right, so I am actually going to do this. I think that looks good there. What do you think? Whoop, you guys can't see. I just realized you guys can't see. Well, that's not good. There we go. I'm going to put that there. What do you guys think? I think that looks good there. And again, I'm layering them. Can you see how they layer over each other? Because I like to be able to layer my stuff. All right, again, this has a lip here. So if you weren't following earlier when we were starting the transfers, I always start the lip first. So this is the transfer tool that you get from Redesign with Prima. I know that I'm sold out of them, and they're back ordered until October, but I will have them after that. But check with your local retailers, because they might have it. Just because I sold out doesn't mean other people don't have it. I actually wound up buying one from another retailer, because I wanted one so bad, another one, because mine I kind of gave out to somebody, and then got it from them. All right, so you're literally just gonna rub it just like this to put your transfer on. Isn't that great? It just like rubs on and does what it needs to do. Aw, thanks guys. So let's do this. All right. Look at that. Can you see how that goes on? Can you guys see that? It's great, right? All right, so as you're rubbing, you will know, I'm going to use my tool actually. I like the way that goes on. You will know that it's lifted, because you can actually see a difference. Let me see if I can get this close enough for you guys to see. I'm trying to, can you guys see, like when I'm rubbing right here, can you see like where that bubble pocket is? That means that the transfer is already set there onto the piece and it's sticking. So we're gonna go ahead and, oh, that one's not. So I tried to pull it up. You could see that it was coming up with the backing. So this clear backing is on the transfers. As you pull it up, you'll see, can you guys see how it actually releases? And you can see the dark to light as it releases, and where it's actually releasing and sticking to your furniture. I say furniture, but you can use this, like I said, on just about anything. So, all right, so look at that. All right, so I had somebody ask me a question a little bit ago, and I didn't get to answer it. So I'm gonna back this up so I can answer the question. They asked, have you ever had your transfers not go on right and you feel like, whoops, sorry guys, I'm trying to get this in. Have you ever had your transfers go on and they crack? Yes. This one right here, you guys might not be able to see it, but there is a tiny little crack because I'm not sure why. So what I do is I just take a tiny little paint and I go into that spot. The other thing that I'll tend to do is I will go in and I will kind of lightly distress the area so that you can't even tell that it was done. It looks like it was supposed to be stressed that way. All right, so I'm burnishing this with my fingers. Well, one of the things that I do as well, if you guys have ever heard of rad pads, they're made from Surf Prep. They're like my favorite thing. So there's one that's called Super Fine. It's probably, I don't know what the grit is. I'm going to say probably like a 400 or 500. You just lightly do the edges just to make sure. I just go over it just to make sure everything is on there right. And then your transfer sticks. Just, Diana said, I remember when there was such thing as rub-ons. Oh my gosh, I used to use them on glasses. I did. So I used to use rub-ons on glasses that I would get at like Michael's and that. And I thought rub-ons were the bomb. And then I found out that they had transfers for furniture that were like rub-ons. It's like the bigger bomb, if you know what I mean. So, all right. So that being said, you guys want to take a look at what's going on right here? Let's move this around. Look what's going on with our molds. They're actually, if you guys could feel through the screen, I would tell you that this thing is as warm as can be. And it's a little sticky still, so I'm not going to pull this one out. But this one is warm, and it's crazy because what it's warm from is the activation of the resins activating. This one, same thing. It's still a little sticky. If you touch it, you can see the ends are sticky. Can you see where it's clear? That means that still has to set. So when it's finished setting complete, I'm trying to get this into the screen the right way. All right, there we go. When it's finished setting completely, these edges will all be white. They won't be clear. And that's what you want your molds to be like, is white and not clear. So we're just gonna give this just a, literally, as I sat that down, can you see what's happening? Right here is actually turning white. So that means that that's just about ready for us to pull off, because we're going to put our other two pieces on here and then and place our center on, so you'll get to see how that goes. So let me see, this probably just a couple more minutes, so maybe I'll answer some questions. Can you say the name of the epoxy again, please? Of course. So the epoxy is called Amazing Casting Resin. The white, there's clear and there's white. Clear takes many more hours to set. The white actually it sets within like 10 minutes. And you can buy this from the link that's in the description of the live. So if you go up into the live, you can click the link and you'll be able to get this and use the coupon there's a code for 10% off. All right, where did you get your molds again? I get my molds from Prima. So I use only Prima molds. I've used other molds, and I'm going to tell you that those are very, very high quality. They're thick, they're bendable, they work well for you. You can if you go onto the ReDesign with Prima page and look for your local retailer, there could be a local retailer near you. If there's no retailer near you, come back onto this page and ask somebody who near you gets them and where they get them. Try and give your business to a local retailer first, because we always want to support small business, right? What will I use for a top coat? Oh boy. So, all right. I am a Dixie Belle dealer as well, so I am an avid Dixie Belle user. So I use the Dixie Belle satin coat personally on most of my furniture pieces, and I use gator hide. However, gator hide should not be used over transfers. It just makes them lift. There's something in it that just makes them lift. If you want to use gator hide on your piece that you have a transfer on, you'll want to use a different top coat first, like a flat or a satin. You can use any. I personally use Dixie Belle, but you can use Varathane. I think polyacrylic is one that some use. But you put that on first, put 2 coats of another sealer on, and then the gator hide. And then your stuff will not come up. The other thing to remember is transfers always go directly onto paint. You don't seal your piece and then put transfers on. Your transfers should always go directly onto paint so that they adhere correctly. It's the most important thing. All right, I think our stuff is getting ready. Look at that. They look great, don't they? So I'll show you how these pop out. They're so easy. You just bend it and look, it pops literally right out. This is so warm. And do you see how it's kind of like, it's hard to gauge the camera. Look how those just pop out, and they're still, look at they're bendable because it's still warm. See how I'm bending that? So you can I'm going out of camera again. Woo. got to get used to this camera. All right, see how it's bended? And yes, you can paint over transfer. I do them all the time, especially if I have cracks in my transfer. When I was putting it on, I will paint over the transfer. All right, so here we go again. The glue, I put a small strip on. See how I did that? And then I take my fingers and I spread the glue around so that it covers all the areas. Somebody said to me once, how do you get your glue off your fingers? Very carefully. Actually, I am a scrubby soap fanatic. If you guys have never used scrubby soap, boy, you're missing out on life. So scrubby soap is this soap that actually has, it's like all different flavors, but it has like a citrus stuff into it that actually, I'm telling you, I've had brushes that I have left paint on for overnight, and I use a scrubby brush and it gets the stuff off. It's crazy. All right. So then that goes on, and that'll stay on till we get our next piece. Let's get our next piece on. Look how cute that is. I love this one. I love this mold. It's like one of my favorite ones. All right, you ready? We're going to pop our next one out. So you see this one? It's a little thinner on the edges. So I am going to do, oh, look at that. So you just bend it, and it pops out. Do you see that? I mean, they're really, really easy to use. I know there was somebody on here earlier, Lisa, who said that she was nervous to use molds. I'm telling you, they are one of the easiest things that you can use to update and to accent your piece. Again, I spread it around with my finger. Thanks, Cheryl. Oh, who is this? This is Sherry. Thanks, Sherry. I appreciate that. Very much so. So I used to teach art classes. I owned a company where we did glassware events, and I taught. I've always loved teaching and empowering people to create. I think that's like a really important thing because it's a great outlet for people, right? And if you can't teach and get other people to be creative, then I just love to teach. All right, so here we go. So that is on. So now we got to take our centerpiece off, right? Look, can you hear that? Just pops out. Look at the details on that thing. That's the details that the resin will give you when you use the resin. Isn't that beautiful? It's awesome. So let's do some more glue. And again, I'm going to use my finger. This one I'm going to use a little bit more glue on because I want to make sure it adheres on the edges really, really well. And I'm going to be painting over this anyway, so any glue that overflows will actually be. So this is still pliable as well. Can you see me bending that in? So I want to bend this and push it. Whoops. See, remember I told you I drop stuff all the time? I drop and stuff all the time. All right. Not. All right. Wasn't on all the way. All right. So what do you do when that happens? You use blue tape. So let me put a little bit more glue on here. This is my blue tape around here. So I usually leave all my stuff on my little thing, and I didn't. So let's try this again. See if I can get this to stick without having to use blue tape. Oh, you know why? I just realized why. I don't have any on my edges. So with this mold, because the edges, no panic. You can't panic. So you know what the thing is about art? Art is self-expression, but art is just going with it. You can't panic. You got to just go with it, and it always works out in the end, right? Exactly. This glue does not dry clear. This is a Titebond glue. If you wanted a clear glue, I would use like an E6000, which is a silicone base. That's actually what I use on glass. This does not dry clear. I'm using this one because I'm working on wood, and I want it to stick to the wood as much as possible. Glue is our best friend, yes. What kind of glue is this? This is Titebond Premium. And as soon as I let go of this thing, I just want to give it a second to set before I let go, because otherwise it's going to come down again. If I really felt that this wasn't going to come down, I can tape it, but I can also use a little bit of a blow dryer. and the warm from the blow dryer will actually make it stay. All right, it will stay. All right, so this is what we're using tonight. It's the Type On 2 Premium. It's a great glue. I use it for a lot of my stuff. I use it for the molds. I use it for Would You Bend. I use it for a lot of things. So, all right, so we went over transfers tonight, and we went over our molds tonight. I know I've been on for almost an hour now, so I kind of wanted to pull it to an end. I absolutely loved being on here with you guys tonight. If you have any questions that I have not been able to answer, I will scroll through and I'll answer the questions for you. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like me to come on live more, please let me know. And also, if you really enjoyed, the thing came off, I'm gonna have to tape it up. If you really enjoyed the video and you'd like to see more from me as well, you can follow me over on my page, which is JJ Bean Designs, and I do lives there as well. And then somebody said, how long do you let the mold dry before painting? I'll let it dry overnight because I want to make sure it's completely dry. Easy to make my own. Some clay molds are nice, but my own designs are original. I agree with you. If you can make your own original molds, that's awesome with the clay. That's awesome. Lisa said she'll give it a try. Yay! We converted her. We converted her. That's awesome. Sherry, thank you very much. Thank you. And have you ever used the Type On Quick and Thick? No, and I need to get it because I hear everything about Type On Quick and Thick, and that was great. Thank you guys. Remember, in the link, there is the way to get the casting resin. Follow me on JJ Bean Designs if you want to see more, as well as if you want to see me come back on and do more videos. All right? Everybody have a great night, and see you soon.